All right, we're happy to have back on the Lucha Libre segment. This was favorite segment, by the way.
My favorite segment.
Yes, it is. You're always asking when it's happening. Is Hugo going to be on? Hugo Savinovich. Boom!
Tangana! Hello, my guys. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
Yes, yes. Let's do it. I mean, we are.
Hugo, I got a question for you.
Yes.
It's WrestleMania week, all right, and you're our lucha expert. Can you give us some of the background? Because a lot of people don't know the history of El Grande Americano in Mexico.
Oh boy. Let me choke myself. To have Rey Mysterio, to me, our biggest lucha and wrestling ambassador of the Latinos, not just the Mexican people, and to have him against El Grande Americano without even doing good vignettes in Mexico, small arenas like Lopez Mateos or Naucalpan, or even asking AAA to do something with him. They could have done something good, and yet, to me, this is more offensive than anything coming to like an angle. I just don't see it.
You're literally offended because
yes.
A lot of Mexicans have been offended.
Yeah, I'm not Mexican. I'm Ecuadorian.
Okay, but you're Latino. You're Latino.
Yes,
but people are offended that he was being billed from the Gulf of America, and they actually changed it back. He's from the Gulf of Mexico, because this to me is like if you're a professional wrestling character, and you're going to insult the culture of lucha libre. I don't see what the problem is here. That's what the character is doing.
Yeah, I will tell you what the problem is. It sucks. It's not a good angle. If they would have invested, if they would have invested some time on having El Grande Americano in Mexico, making fun of the vignette, slapping a couple of masked wrestlers in a couple of the arenas. But to me, having the top wrestling company in the world with all the money they have, and they just did like one lousy little attack on Rey Mysterio, and here we go again. It's like Rey Mysterio has put in so many years to the benefit of the company, and of course we know that he has to put up with a lot of because he wants to secure the future of Dominic. But even this angle of a Grande Americano, it's done in such a cheap way that it's not even good for a heel against Rey Mysterio. It's just showing me that with all the money they have, they're getting very careless about how to put a good story, something that could have been good.
I think you're disrespecting the history of a Grande Americano.
No,
because I heard that he was. My sources told me that he was. You have Conan, Rey Mysterio, El Santo, Canek, and El Grande Americano are like the five, like the Mount Rushmore of Mexican wrestling. Is that
something? You're doing a better angle than they are. That's how sad this is. That you actually doing something better for the Grande Americano than what it's actually happening.
Let me add this, Hugo. Me and share your concerns for WWE because, and we can get to this later. The underwhelming build up to WrestleMania. I think the concept for El Grande Americano at the beginning was kind of funny, and later on I'll reveal what my part in this could have been, okay? But I think, like you said, it started out good, and here's the worst part, bro. Here is the worst part, because I'm not offended, is that Rey Mysterio deserves better than this, okay?
Yes.
And
like what?
A bigger profile match.
Okay, how many big?
It's not a big profile match.
Let me ask you this: how many big profile matches are there on this show?
Right.
Okay.
There's not a lot.
Okay.
That's
all right, but still, that's not an excuse. You're making a lot of money. You have a lot of writers. You have a lot of. Bro, you have all the resources in the world to have a better show. How come Game of Thrones didn't have one good show and then 3 bad shows? And no, all their shows are good. So I get upset when I see the resources they have, and Hugo worked there. He knows. Top of the line, everything. The best of everything, bro. And they've got a lot of smart people backstage. I know they're overwhelmed with all this, but they don't even do house shows hardly anymore.
Let me give you this. This is interesting. Did you know that El Grande Americano, that Rey Mysterio is a minus 150 favorite against El Grande Americano? He's favored to win the match. And I'll be honest. I mean, bro.
All you can do is laugh.
I just okay, but no. But let's talk about this. That is funny to me,
right?
Because you would think the way this angle is being worked, El Grande Americano has the thing now. He's used the mask. I would think they're not going to beat this guy already. You know what I'm saying? You would like if you're
if you're going to continue, you can't beat him yet unless something.
Which is kind of weird that Rey Mysterio is favored in the betting markets. I thought that was interesting. So go ahead.
But Mr. Disconferno, with all the respect that you deserve, it sucks so bad that you are actually doing a better job than WWE has done for this match. And all they had to do was either add Dominic Mysterio in the corner of a Grande Americano, or put somebody like Conan or Alberto Patron being the advisors of this guy, like having two people identify with the Mexican culture, going against the culture, helping this guy against an idol, an icon. But they haven't done that.
Okay, speaking of Latinos, okay, WrestleMania. Another very interesting betting odds here, Conan.
Let me just say this real quick. Let me just say this real quick. Oh, as a matter of fact, Hugo, on Monday, we were going over each match that interested us in WrestleMania, right? Disco was interested in Grande Americano and Rey Mysterio. And Rey Mysterio, who's my brother and I love, I am not interested in that match.
No, I feel offended.
But it could be very entertaining.
Yeah, no, it will. My point is, they could have done the vignettes on small arenas there, or use. I'm with you. There's a lot. Alberto, listen, what about if it would have been you, Alberto, and Dominic in his corner against Rey Mysterio? They could have done something. I mean, and give it some importance. But to me, it's like the lack of respect for the Latino product, and that has shown through so many things that they have done. And to me, the biggest insult is to somebody that deserves the respect. A legend. Rey Mysterio, like Conan said, deserves better. And you know, the problem is he's such a pro that he could cry about this, but he will go into that match and make it look fantastic and probably will be entertaining. But, you know, come on. It could have been. Let me
give you something else. If you guys are very want the Latino product looking at positively, let me give you some other interesting odds.
Right.
Okay.
Rey Mysterio is an overwhelming odds-on favorite to win that four-way match to win the Intercontinental title.
You're talking about
Braun Breaker, Finn, Penta, and Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio in the betting odds is like a minus 600 favorite. Like you got to bet 600 just to win on Dominic. Dominic is an odds-on favorite to win that match. What do you think about that?
I love the fact that Penta is on it. The reaction of Dominic entering that stadium is going to be awesome. I just have a problem, and the problem that I have is none of those championships are over. And what's going to save it will be good moves. Hope it's not too long of a match. And if they let Penta do like two of his incredible moves and the heelish part of Dominic, I think it'll be okay. But I just wonder why they did something with Carlito Caribbean Cool, that spear that went viral, and he wasn't even added to that on a vignette, you know, like saying we'll get even somehow, when that thing got more response than the actual match that's going to happen in WrestleMania.
They've missed the boat on how talented Carlito is, but, you know, if Dominic gets it, I'll be so happy. If Pentagon gets it, of course. So we've got two guys in there that's the only reason that match is interesting to me.
Yeah, and I hope if they do the angle somehow, he keeps the belt or whatever. I hope that if it's something about Judgment Day coming in, that at least they have the good mind of having the Lucha Brother gimmick come in and have Ray Phoenix come in. Do something where at least you give the people a good pop. Because right now, let's face it, besides Cody's championship, and none of the other championships are worth $1, even with the inflation right now.
See, the inflation's even making the belts be less.
Yeah, yes, yes, yes.
The belts didn't mean anything to begin with, and it's even less right now because of inflation. So what do we got? So next they did the packages. They're pretty good. The triple threat package. And they show Paul backstage. He's flustered, So then the LWO make their entrance. It's Ray versus. We'll go figure here. So Ray's wrestling Grande Americano this weekend. So what are we gonna do to promote this match? Ray versus Julius Creed, who's in the Alpha Academy with Chad Gabe.
Mm-hmm.
But before that started, they had a promo video with Ripley about kind of promo Bianca. All these are good, by the way. I would suggest to people that if you don't have time to watch these shows, you could just watch all these video packages and you're completely caught up on everything that's happening on this program. So they're very good, especially for WrestleMania week. They need to be good because there's a lot of people I haven't been watching and just make it, So there's funny. What you call it? So Ray goes for.
And want me to tell you something, Disco? This is how I've changed the wrestling. But then again, when we were growing up, they didn't have a lot of video packages, and especially not at this quality. But bro, my favorite parts of every show are usually the video packages and the promos.
Right. So take a while. Guess what happened in this? I would have never thought they would have booked it like this. So Gable disappears.
It was good booking.
Okay, let's say, but this is to me was kind of. I bet in a creative meeting that this was the spot. Okay,
right.
Gable disappears.
Right.
El Grande Americano comes.
You knew it was going to happen too.
Of course you did. That's what I'm saying. So so then El Grande Americano comes running out. So then Ray sent Julius into him, and they did the Keystone Cops with the heels, and Ray did they call that dropping a dime, the slingshot splash from the apron into the ring. Why do they call that dropping a dime? You
know what dropping a dime is?
Yeah, you're telling on somebody.
Right, so he's kind of dropping the dime off the third.
He's dropping, like it's a dime dropping.
Yeah. It's a metaphor.
Take a while. Guess what happens after the match?
Well, Grande Americano leaves Mysterio's laying, with
the headbutt off the ropes with the gimmick mask. So yeah, all right. So
which is what he should do.
Right.
That's exactly what you should do. I just thought that, like you said, the Keystone Cops, he buried, he headbutted the whole LWO, but they're used to being buried. And anyway, then the only thing anybody cares about, bro, now that I'm thinking about it, didn't they do in one of the WrestleManias, Joe, that double doink spot? Remember that?
They did, yeah. Way back. WrestleMania 9 against Crush.
9, wow.
93, yeah.
Well, what a good memory. Anyways, so that's probably that's what they're doing. It was funny, but not for wrestling. So, so they'll probably do that during the match too, somehow, some way.
It'll tell them.
Maybe Gable is taken out in a stretcher and come Americano comes back.
Right. Yeah, I guess
you can have a lot of fun with this.
You can. Right. Yeah, that's why Ray's the favorite, and I'm kind of thinking.
But here's the problem, Joe.
Yeah.
People are too busy being offended to have fun. It's like, bro, it's just a. Right. I would be the first.
Hugo was offended, Joe.
The Gulf of America.
Well, he was more offended that Ray deserves better, which he does deserve a higher profile guy for WrestleMania, but Gable is a great worker and he'll make it work too. So at least it'll be entertaining. What were you saying about the odds, Joe?
Ray's favored, not by much, but it's more even than some of the other matches. And I was thinking that if Ray just wins the match, then this is going to be a really short-lived gimmick.
Right.
They're not going to have this American.
That's what Disco was saying too.
Yeah. I'm going to make a point here too. This is interesting to me. So they did a video package, okay, a promo video to hype up the War Raiders against New Day. Now, I remember, like you guys did, that New Day was getting solar heat, the Dominic Mysterio heat, when they were cutting promos in front of the crowd. For some inexplicable reason, they have not done that in a while now.
Yeah.
And the storyline was pointing towards Rey Mysterio being the locker room leader and him kicking out like they had beef. I would have thought, bro, now they got the War Raiders like as a tag team champions. A far more interesting a match and build-up would have been Ray and Dragon Lee against New Day with the belts on the line. I think would have been because that's the direction it was headed. Then it just pivoted and they're with the War Raiders. And I'm not interested in this at all. Like, Cody, you're muted, but what do you think about that?
Well, not only that, they had Mega Heat thing with the Big E, right? That was also big too, that he could have used him. He doesn't have to get physical. And I would not be surprised if Big E showed up in WrestleMania. But you make a very good point. It's almost as somebody decided we need to do something with Gable. Let's do it with Rey. But they should have left Rey with the New Day thing, because that had a lot of heat. You know, I love the fact when I thought it was hilarious when he goes, yeah, none of the boys want you in the dressing room, you know, and kicked them out. And how they just kept going back and forth. They had great chemistry.
Right. I thought, they could have this on that story.
Somebody decided we want to do something with this guy. They should have waited after WrestleMania. They should have done this program and then gone into Gable. I don't know why they cut it.
Right, because they could have literally done stuff where Rey's in matches. He loses against Huda. They're mocking him, going, "How are you a locker room leader when you just lost to this guy?" You know, they could have had so much.
And Gable's very entertaining, but he can wait. Just put him in an ancillary program just to keep him happy, hot. You know, You know, and then once Rey's done, then we start the Grande Americano thing.
Well, this is what you could have done. You could have started the El Grande Americano a couple weeks out, starting to integrate with the LWO going into this match. And now there's, you got a couple different roads you can go down in the match. Right. So it's like,
bro, why are we thinking about this off the top of our head without even really writing it? And they're in meetings and sending back and forth revisions and getting idea from the wrestlers themselves. What's going on?
I would like if I know how these creative meetings work. Okay.
So
and the way this card is laid out, they wouldn't want me in there because I would just be saying, guys, I do not care about this stuff.
Right.
And I don't think the fans do either. You know, it's like, I think the fans would care more about this stuff, you know? It's like,
So let me just say one thing about the Rey Mysterio fight. Julius Creed reminds me a lot of Gable, very talented, can do it all. And I think he's going to be somebody because of his size and athleticism to watch for in the future or as a tag with his brother.
Okay, but let me tell you this too about the Creed brothers. Okay, they are talented. Okay, and this is a lot of guys these days that are talented, but they still kind of. I get the feel when I'm watching them work and watching matches, like they do impressive moves and stuff, but they still get caught and hung out to dry out there, looking like they're in the middle of the match. They're thinking about what the next spot's going to be. Because a lot of times these guys aren't very organic when the next move's coming up and they're waiting there and they're waiting too long and you're just kind of like in position. It's like you're bent over ready to take the move about 3 or 4 seconds too early and you're just getting stuck looking out. That's what these guys are.
Well, they might have brought him in they might have brought him in too quick, which I don't know why. They could have seasoned them more. But the thing that a lot of people got to understand is it's not that easy, okay, to come from NXT to the big show.
And plus,
that's a whole level of nervousness and
and it is a glaring difference between our era and these guys' era. A lot of the talent these days is timing. Like there's a
bro. Let me tell you, I was watching this clip. They actually put it on there, and I reposted. It was like a you know that thing, Grapple Clips.
Yes.
Yeah. So it had like these highlights of like, it was a match like Eddie and Benoit were teaming, okay? And I went in and I went back and I started to watch some of their matches. When you look at Eddie, when you look at Benoit, who were small guys, albeit muscular, okay? You never saw them waiting for anybody illogically. You never saw them selling illogically. You always, you have to, young guys, go back and watch because most young guys are small now. But at least these guys look tough. You guys, half of you don't look tough at all. Right? And so, the way they sold, the way they wrestled, the way they did everything. You never saw them waiting for something like a lot of American wrestlers when they're doing lucha spot or even Mexican wrestlers themselves.
Right.
Yeah, study them.
Right. So next they did the AJ Styles against
and
Cross.
Malenko. Yeah.
Yo, what's up? I just want to thank you guys for watching this clip. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And join our YouTube membership for hours and hours of exclusive, unedited, uncensored content, and being a member will help you get involved in our upcoming live streams. Thank you for your support. Thank you for riding with us. I know you got a lot of other podcast choices, be it wrestling or other ones. And thank you for picking us. Boom.